that, you get -8 plus 2x minus 8. And then when you distribute here, you have 6x minus 48. Your next steps will be to combine your like terms. And when you add -8 and -8, you should get -16. From here, you can either subtract the 6 or subtract the 2. I think I'm going to subtract the 2, which is going to give me -16 equals 6x. Does not equal 6x. 4x minus 48. And then my last step, well, not last step, but almost like next step would be to add the 48. And what did you get when you added? What would you get? 32. Last step, divide by 4, and you get x equals 8. Yep. So that's one thing I like about math, is that there's more than one way to get to the destination. You know, like I can get to, I was going to say Circle Central Mall, but that's closed. But I can get downtown on the highway, or I can take the street, but I'm still going to get there. So I may do it in a method that you didn't use, but I am looking, as long as you show your work, you'll still get full credit. I should be able to follow your process. Okay, let's go ahead and copy down these next two. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to work through these on your own, and then we'll go through it together. Now, this question I don't know the answer to, so we're working this one together. Yes, give me a second. I have to write past this. Yeah. Now this one is tricky because there's 2 distributing and one of them is a negative. So make sure you're watching your sign. Okay. Worked it out for the first time with you all. Hopefully I'm right. It's still early in the morning though. We'll see. Okay, I'm feeling confident about my answer. You can go ahead and look at my steps. You should have a negative 16. Negative 16. Negative, not positive, but negative. Okay, so I just these are like terms. So first you distribute. Oh, that's wrong. Wait, is that right? No, it is right. I'm sorry, y'all. Brain is not braining yet. Okay. Anyway. So I highlighted my like terms. So these are like terms. And these are like terms. Now, the biggest mistake is probably right here. Forgetting that a negative times a negative is a positive. And that's really probably the biggest mistake. And it's a common mistake. So if you did not get that answer, go ahead and fix it. Correct it. The other thing I saw, I only looked at a few papers, but some of you wrote that 8x minus x is a 9x. And that's not true, right? 8 minus 1 is 7x. So that would be my final answer. All right, what is a method we can use to deal with a fraction? What can we multiply 3 over 4 by to get 1? Reciprocal, yes. What's the reciprocal of 3 over 4? 4 over 3. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to multiply both sides by 4 over 3. So when I do that, see, this becomes 12 over 12. And this is 28 over 27. But 12 divided by 12 is 1. So it's just x equals 28 over 27. I do not like decimals. Keep it a fraction. If you get an answer that is a fraction, leave it a fraction. So again, multiply by the reciprocal in order to, if you see a fraction, in order to clear it out. And leave, if you get a fraction, just leave it a fraction. Because some decimals you have to round. And if you have to round it, it's not accurate anymore. So we'll just leave it a fraction. Any questions? Okay. All right, let's keep going. We got 2 more. Both of them have a fraction. So this is numbers 5 and 6. trickier. Okay, so I wasn't saying anything about phones. That's because they were face down. But when we start doing this right here, that's where we're on our phone. So if you don't think you can control yourself, put it away. Because remember, what did I say? If you're on your phone, you do what? You void your chance for a retake. So. And I'm not even, I didn't work these out yet, so I'm not quite sure what the answers are. Now there's a couple different ways you can do this one when you see a fraction. I'm just curious, what is some of the ways you learn how to deal with a fraction? The last one was a little different because I had a fraction equal to a fraction. All right, so I could just multiply by the reciprocal. But these two are different because I have on this side, I also have a number. So multiplying by the reciprocal first will not work. So, but there's about two different ways. When I used to teach Algebra 1 a long time ago, I used to teach it a completely different way. So I'm just curious, does anybody want to volunteer how you would start it? Because remember, like I told Nyante, there's more than one way to get the right answer. Can you remind me your name? Justice. So you subtracted the 5? Okay, I'm just curious, did anybody multiply everything by 3 to clear out the fraction? No? Okay. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to subtract the 5. So when I subtract 5, I have negative 1/3 x equals 4. And now, because the only thing that I have is a fraction, now I can multiply by the reciprocal. And the reciprocal of negative 1/3 is what? Negative 3/1 or negative 3. So I'm going to multiply this side by negative 3. And I'm multiplying this side by negative 3. Put that in parentheses so it doesn't look like a subtraction. So when you multiply these two, we already know that two negatives become positive. And because these are reciprocals, that's just going to equal x. And 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. All right. Go ahead and do, now this one is a little different. Now this one, in my opinion, I would clear the fraction. But let's kind of work this together. So, because you're going to have to subtract 5 from 2/3, right? And if I want to subtract 5 from 2/3, now I need to find a common denominator, which, who feels very comfortable with fractions? Okay. Not many people feel comfortable with fractions. So I'm going to show you two different methods. What I would probably do in this case is clear it out by multiplying everything by 3. So if you did it a different way, can you just also, let's talk about this method. And why do you think I multiplied by 3? That's my denominator, yeah. So when I take 3 times 2, I get 6. 3 times 2/3 is just 2. 3 times 5x is 15x. 3 times 1 is 3. So that equation is a lot easier for us to solve. Now we don't have to worry about a fraction at all. So go ahead and solve it out. I think I would subtract 2x. But you could also subtract 15x. So 6 equals 13x minus 3. And then I'm going to add the 3, which gives me a 9. And then lastly, divide by 13. So 9/13 is my answer. All right, I'm going to work that out a second way too. If you decided that you were going to keep the fraction, because some of you may have decided to do it that way, and that is fine. If I do it that way, then I'm going to have to subtract 5x. Now, in order for me to subtract 5 from 2/3, I need to write it with a denominator of 3. So I'm going to subtract, what I'm really subtracting is 15 over 3. So that's where we kind of become confusing, because you have to know that in order to subtract 5, I have to write that with a common denominator, which would be 15 over 3. So this is where it kind of gets a little icy, where people probably might go left, take a wrong turn. So this is an option to just clear out the fraction, but I'll finish it out. So now I have 2 minus 13x over 3 equals -1. And then I am going to subtract the 2. So that would be -13x over 3 equals -3. And then my last step would be to multiply by the reciprocal. And the reciprocal would be -3 over 13. And my final answer again would be x equals 9 over 13. So we get the same answer, but who thinks the first method is easier? Who thinks the second method? All right, and again, I don't care. When I grade your tests, I'm looking for the answer. And as long as your work justifies how you got it, then we're good. All right. Now let's talk about quadratics. So we're still in Appendix A, but who remembers there's actually 3 different ways you can solve a quadratic. And a quadratic simply means that we have an exponent of 2. Okay. Who can tell me one of the ways you can solve a quadratic? What, can you remind me of your name? Maya? Okay. Factoring. That is one way. All right. Anybody else want to tell me a way? Opposite of b plus or minus the square root of, what do we call that? Quadratic formula. Now this third way you may not be familiar with unless you took an honors algebra 2 class, and that's completing the square. And that would be your 3 methods. Okay. So I think we have time to do 2 more questions and then we'll end there. So we're going to actually do all 3 of these methods. Today we're going to start with factoring because that's the one that you should hopefully remember. If not, I'm going to help you with that. All right, so don't copy down all of these. Just copy down A and B. And we're going to start off by factoring. Now the first step to factor, well, I'll give you a second to keep writing. But whenever you factor or use the quadratic formula, you have to start with setting it equal to 0. That's your first step. Set it equal to 0. We'll probably do C, actually. I think I lied to you because that way you'll be caught up with my other 3 classes. So for this first one, I'm going to subtract 2. which gives you x squared plus 3x minus 4. So A is 1, B is 3, C is negative 4. So I need two numbers that multiply to give you negative 4 and add to 3. Two numbers, they multiply to give you negative 4 and add to 3. Anybody want to volunteer those numbers? Toby?
Negative 4.
Close. Not negative 4 and positive 1. We got to switch the signs to 4 and negative 1 because they have to add to be 3. So because A is 1, we can do a shortcut. We can just put our two numbers. So I'm going to put a plus 4 in one parentheses and a minus 1 in the other. And now to solve it, I'm just setting them both equal to 0. So x equals negative 4 is my first answer. X equals positive 1 would be my second answer. All right, B is already set equal to 0. So I'll give you a minute to see if you can find the factors. You just need two numbers. You don't have to make a box. I am going to show other ways to factor though. You just need two numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 7. All right, anybody want to volunteer those numbers? Is it Mia? Yeah, what you come up with? Yep, positive 4, positive 3. So I have x plus 4 equals 0, x plus 3 equals 0. So my first answer is negative 4, and my second answer is negative 3. All right, and this legit is our last question. Let's go ahead and copy that down. So who uses the box when A is not 1? Anybody use bottoms up, guess and check? You do guess and check? You do bottoms up? What do you do?
I do
Guess and check, okay. So we have a lot of different ways we can go about doing this. I personally like bottoms up. I'll show you that method, but I'll also do the box. So I have A, B, and C. Now that A is not 1, we can't go straight to our factors. So 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. B is negative 5. So I need two numbers that multiply to give you negative 6 and add to negative 5. I'm trying to somebody else who I haven't talked to so I can learn names. Nobody else is brave, I guess. All right, Justice, is you. Negative 6 and 1. Okay, so let's talk about the box first. First, I'm going to do box. So if you do the box, the A goes here, the C goes here, no matter what. In the other two squares, you have your numbers that we found, and we add an X to it. Then we take out the GCF. So for the top row, I could take out a 2x. The bottom row, I can only take out a 1. So 2x plus 1 equals 0. That would be my first factor. And that's going to give me a fraction, negative 1/2. Now if I look at my columns though, the first column, I could take out an X, and the GCF of my second column would be what? What can I take out of 6 and 3? What's the largest number that I can divide 6 and 3 would be 3, yeah. But it has to be a -3 because it's touching a -3. So then X equals 3 would be my second. All right, now let's talk about the bottoms up method. And if you don't want to learn it, then stick with this one. I'm almost hesitant to show you another way, but I'm going to show you because it's a little bit faster. So we still started off the same, but this time we're going to go straight to our parentheses. Okay, so I found my two numbers. I'm going to put a -6 in one, put a +1 in the other. Now for the bottoms up method, you simply divide by A. So because A is 2, I'm going to divide this by 2, and I'm going to divide this by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So now we have our X minus 3 factor. Because I can't divide 1 by 2, I'm going to take that 2 and move it from the bottom up. That's why it's called bottom up. I move that 2 up in front of the X, and it becomes 2x plus 1. And again, you still get the same. All right, well, you all did really good. We're going to end there for today.